Hey, everybody.
Hoo-dee-hoo!
Welcome to the StabCast. I'm Dizzle.
And I'm Mizzle.
Dizzle and Mizzle, we're here. Gotta get you a little more in the frame, but
Sorry, guys. We're working on two separate cameras here.
we're here on the TikTok. We're on the YouTube. Welcome, everybody, to the StabCast. We're here on a spooky Monday today instead of a spooky Sunday because the wind was blowing hard yesterday and our power went out. So we are here to do the podcast, and we're here to talk about a hell of a movie, Mindy. What's the movie?
The movie is A Late Night with the Devil.
Yes.
It was a Shudder original that took the internet and the world by storm a few years ago. Like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I think it was like 23, 22. I think it's 23.
Yeah.
And it was just very new. And even Stephen King really liked it.
Yeah.
Like, it's very critically panned. Audiences loved it. And you have people like Stephen King that were 110% backing it.
And this one kind of had the Terrifier thing of like it did a festival run beforehand, and it got such, critical praise that they put it in theaters.
Yep.
And it had such buzz on it that it actually fucking got up to 15 million in the box office.
Yes, it did.
Which is,
It did a really good job because I believe it was up against a budget of
not much. This is a
$4
low budget movie. Yeah, I think it was. I don't know. I don't even know if the budget's on tap, but
it might not be.
I don't think it is.
Yeah, no, box office is not on tap. Okay, so.
But it made 15 million, which is pretty impressive for a low budget movie that wasn't even considered to do anything like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead. Get into.
So everybody, we do have a little bit of news for this episode today. We have talked about the new movies that are coming out in 2025. And I would like to tell y'all that 2025 is going to be the year of the horror sequels. Okay? I have in my hand 10 horror sequels. And most of them, a good chunk of them, are ones that are 10 plus years old.
Yeah.
Let's get through it. So there's this movie that I want you to check out. It's actually not that old. It's from 2022. It's called Fall. It actually has our boy Mason Gooding in it. I think I told you about it with the radio tower and the two girls climbing.
Yeah. Yes.
They're actually having a second one and a third one already in the works.
Okay.
The second one will follow the original story with Becky and how she's coping. The third one will be a different pair of people.
Yes.
And a different disaster. So, also, you remember Circle?
Yes.
They came out 2017.
They're doing another one?
Yes, they are. Circles is coming out. Its OG was 10 years ago. It'll be 10 years ago in 2 years. So in 2 years, it will be coming out with Circles.
And that's the game one, right?
That is the alien game one.
Yeah.
Where everyone stands in a circle.
That's insane because I really like that movie, so I'm excited to see.
We've been waiting for a sequel for that movie for forever. So the fact that they're finally doing it, it's like, what the hell? This is one that you're going to be really, really excited for. They Follow.
Okay.
Again,
it follows
10 years. Yes.
Okay.
Again, 10 years later, but the young lady that played Jay will be in it.
Okay.
That's all I know. That's all I know. Black Sheep. Remember Black Sheep?
Yes.
2006 New Zealand film. Getting a sequel.
Holy shit.
It's getting a sequel this year. Also, Ready or Not 2.
Oh, that'll be a good one.
Crawl 2 with the alligators.
Yes.
Standalone sequel, so it's going to be different people. So we all know how the Night of the Living Dead is getting a remake at Christmas time. We all know that.
Yes.
Well, do you remember the person that was named Trash in the Night of the Living Dead, Return of the Living Dead series? No. The young lady.
Okay, yeah.
Well, she's getting a sequel called Trash's Revenge.
She's getting her own spinoff?
Yes, from 1985, y'all.
It's not the same girl, right?
Oh my God, I don't know. And then Spookier that came out in 1982, y'all, is coming out with Spookier 2.
Jesus. I mean, this is the era of fucking...
And then Isn't It Romantic is going to have a sequel called Isn't It Scary? So instead of all the romantic movie tropes, it's going to be scary movie tropes. Also, last but not least, we have Poultrygeist 2, The Henpire Strikes Back.
The Hempire?
The Henpire. They're chickens.
I thought it was a weed.
Poultrygeist 2. They're chickens.
Yeah.
Poultrygeist.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm not watching that.
I'm not watching it either, but I wanted to let you know.
I think 2 of those sound good.
Yeah, like not even Ready or Not 2 doesn't even sound good to me because they don't even have Samara Weaving saying that she's willing to come back.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
So, I mean, if they don't get her back, they're kind of screwed.
That's true.
Because who are they going to use?
I don't know. It's going to have to be somebody, maybe an Anya Taylor-Joy.
I mean, I've heard rumors that like it's going to be an anthology kind of piece, which I can mess with that. I could be okay with that.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah, so I mean, at least we have all that to look forward to.
Yeah, so this year is going to be Revenge of the sequels, basically.
That's what everybody loves in horror movies, is sequels.
Except for me. It's going to be the worst year of my horror life.
Late Night with the Devil, Mindy, directed by Colin Carnes. I'm probably
and his
butchering
brother.
that. My problem, Cameron Carnes. If I'm butchering
Colin
that,
and Cameron.
if I'm saying the last name wrong, my bad. David Dashmalan is the fucking man.
Kames.
And
it's an I. Kames. K-A-M.
No, there's an R. It's Carnes.
Oh, Carnes. All right, whatever. Sorry, we're not going to butcher their names.
I mean,
anymore.
we already did like 30 times right there. So,
yeah, so we're good now.
David Dashmalan, who's the fucking man. That's my homie Polka Dot Man in the Suicide Squad.
I thought that's who that was.
I mean, and that guy's pretty much in a lot of shit nowadays. He's like shows up in everything. He's one of those guys. But great.
He's the one that played the TV host, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's a great actor, and I would, it's not a far claim to say that this movie rests on his shoulders. When we talk about, lead actors and also supporting actors, and we talk about who carried the movie and who's the MVP, he clearly is in this one.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. Him and Lily take the cake.
Yeah, Lily was good too. But get into the cast and get in the opening movie a little bit before I pee.
Okay, so basically what we have here is a host named Jack Delroy, and he has a movie, well, not movie, but he has a late night talk show, which is competing with the late night talk show of Johnny Carson, specifically, is who they mention. We are back in the 70s, in the early 70s is where we start at first. This movie has a lovely way of going in between documentary and what's going on at the actual moment, because at the actual moment, what's going on is that it's actually 1977 and they're having an October 31st Halloween late night special show. And Jack's keeping everything hush-hush from everybody about what's really going to happen. But there's going to be a lot of stuff going down, and that's why he's keeping it hush-hush. But before this, all he wanted was to be ahead of Johnny Carson. So he went out and sought out other help. Besides the support of his wife, he sought out other support systems. The support system being the very real, I want you guys to realize that this is a real cult called the Bohemian Grove. It was formed back in the late 1800s, 1868 to be exact, okay? And I've looked up this cult. I've looked it up. It's all about owls and owl god and stuff like that. And the god Abraxas, who's a vengeance demon.
Yes.
All that's, or the demon Abraxas, sorry, not God. And all that stuff. And it is shown that he goes on a trip right before anything ever happens with his wife.
Yes.
Well, all of a sudden he starts to get successful with everything after he took the trip.
Yeah, I bet.
But before, like, after he took the trip, and like all of a sudden his wife, who never smoked a day in her life and who stayed away from people that smoke because she thought it was gross, she got lung cancer.
Yes.
And she got like terminal lung cancer, and she went quick. And then he broke away from everything, and he actually went back to Bohemian Grove to ask for another favor. And this favor was, make me more famous than Johnny Carson. Give me a show that everyone is going to want to watch, that's going to blow everybody away. No questions asked. I will do anything that you send my way. Just please do it. I got to be better than Johnny Carson.
Yes.
And the Bohemian Grove, like I said, it is a very real cult. It's a very real cult. They circle around owls. And like the owl god and Abraxas, who's the god of vengeance, and like his vengeance minions or whatever. Like his, like, it's weird because like they're still demons, but they're under Abraxas, so they're kind of like his minions.
Yeah.
So that's the only way I can really describe it to y'all. But like after his wife dies, and then after he makes another regrettable decision with the Grove, which he doesn't understand he's going to regret yet, and then we open up to Night Owls once again. He's back, everything's going, we're back in 1977, and we're doing Halloween night.
Yes.
It's his Halloween special that he's got going on. He has, excuse me, his co-host. He has his he has a medium, he has a skeptic, and then he has a para investigator, which, if you don't know what that is, it's a paranormal investigator. And then they have a young girl named Lily. Yes. Who was the center of a sacrificial ritual that happened for Abraxas, performed by the family and cult she was living with. And somehow she survived. But by her surviving, June, the psychologist, took her in, because this actually happened like 3 years ago when the girl was 10 and now she's 13.
Yes.
She took the girl and like had been like talking to her ever since and whatnot. And like the girl has always like complained, like, I have something in me. I have someone in me. His name is Mr. Wriggles, because that's how he makes my body feel when he's in there. And like she's going, like the psychiatrist is going against everything, going, we don't need to taunt her anymore. No.
Yeah.
And then it just all blows up. So we're going to go to the beginning of it and whatnot. Daniel,
well, and
what did you think about how they did the documentary?
I thought it was good.
Because that's a really good that's a really good beginning.
Yeah.
Standing point.
No, I thought it was done well. The way it was shot was phenomenal, but that was a good beginning, but as soon as we jump into the late night shit, that's when I get happy, because that is this movie, and I think they did a phenomenal job with it. Mm-hmm. I think just you can tell that they were, especially, and you said his sidekick, the man's name is Gus. We have to put a little respect on his name, because he goes through the most shit on anybody in this fucking movie, it feels like.
Isn't it Christu?
No, it's Gus.
Are you talking about the sidekick or the psychic?
The sidekick.
The sidekick.
The Andy
Richter. Okay, because I thought you were saying the psychic.
No, the sidekick.
Okay, the sidekick, the co-host.
Yes, Gus. And the bald fella.
He does get put through some stuff.
This is this guy's first movie. He's never acted before until this movie.
Oh, shit.
Yes. It's his first movie. I think he's one of the best performances in the movie because he is clearly trying to do Andy Richter, which is, Conan's sidekick.
Exactly.
And Conan O'Brien. And, and Jack Jack's got he resembles a lot of, you can tell he's picking from Carson. He's picking from Letterman. He's picking from Conan. Dashmalan is trying to fucking, this is really, as much as it is.
He's trying to beat Carson, of all people. He's trying to beat Johnny Carson.
In the movie, but I'm saying what the character is based upon.
Yeah.
Who is he, who is he molding this character off of? It's all those late night hosts from the 70s and onwards.
Yeah.
And I think they do a great job with it. But, Gus in particular, who's playing the Andy Richter, who's playing the sidekick, I think he does a wonderful job. And the way he's looking to the audience, half smiling and making little cock jokes, they really
and
made.
For what he goes through, you're telling me that he never acted before?
Yeah,
because he goes through a hell of a thing, which we're gonna get into.
His death is stupid. But,
not his death, but the thing with the skeptic.
Yeah, no, that is a hell of a thing.
That was a hell of a thing that he did. We'll go over that more in a minute here, and just hear that was acted out by somebody that's never acted before in their life. Good job.
But the backdrop to the movie as a whole, I think, is done very well, and that's one of the backbones of this movie is the late night setting.
Yeah.
Do you think that it takes away from it at all? The fact that they kind of, peel back the curtain and go to the behind the scenes stuff?
No, especially because when they're doing behind the scenes, they're doing it how it would have been done back in the 70s. It was black and white instead of being colored like it is on the TV.
Yeah.
So I feel like that was very realistic and very well done. It was a very well shot movie.
100%.
A very well shot movie. And the effects were out of this world. They did a great job with all that. And as far as anything taking out of the hokiness or whatnot because of the fact of it being a Halloween special, because unfortunately you do have that milestone to get over. You do have that hump to get over. Which is is this going to be hokey or are we going to be able to successfully scare the bejeebers out of everyone?
Yeah. But everything that they put into that set and making it a light night feel, I think was incredible. And
Absolutely.
It worked in the movie. I do think it's a bit jarring that we peel back the curtain and go away from, when it goes to commercial, you get to see how they really feel it. It would have been cool if they kept it late night the whole time.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I don't mind those scenes, and I get it. It's a movie. You need to have backdrop, and you need to explain all of his shit that he's going through.
And that's why I like the color contrasts.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that keeps you interested. That keeps you intrigued.
Yeah.
Just that brightness to darkness and so on and so forth, vice versa and everything. I mean, it's not only cool to look at, but as an audience, it keeps you kind of hooked. And waiting for what's going on.
Yes. And more brownie points I will give to this is that with its 1970s setting, all the references and all the little nods to stuff are all from the 70s and all before that.
Yep.
And none of the nods because it's late night. So, and yeah, like I said, Gus is playing Richter, and that's not till the 2000s really. But it's still they don't make any references to anything that happened later on because it wouldn't have happened in that time. Yeah. And when a movie can do that well, because I'm so fucking sick of some of these movies that it's we're in the 1980s.
And there's so many plot holes.
Yeah.
There's a coffee cup in the, and one of the scenes, there's a cell phone going off at 1920s. It's what the hell?
Exactly.
What is going on?
Yeah, no, 100%. And it's just annoying. And everybody wants to be fucking Stranger Things now and be but then they're oh, we're going to fucking.
We're going retro.
Yeah.
And we're going back in time. And it's oh, God, this is going to suck. But this did it.
No,
it feels did a really good job.
It feels like a 70s late night show.
It really does.
And that's what it's supposed to do. So I think, and it never gets boring because all the spooky and scary shit too. And that it melds the two well, but just to have that backdrop of a late night, 70s late night show, like a Johnny Carson, I think they did that really well. That's one of the better things about this movie, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Because it makes it feel, it's kind of got that, that in the Joker, that feel like Robert De Niro's show. and shit's going wrong. It kind of
Yeah.
has that feel, but even more so and even way more authentic than that movie. So I think that's one of the things this thing does really well.
Yes, absolutely. It sticks to its time period very well.
Yeah.
It does a very good job of sticking to that time period and not shying away from it. They could have very much so made a mistake by saying like Letterman and Conan and stuff like that, but they didn't. They did a phenomenal job.
Yeah. They did a very good job. We get to Jack Delroy is the character of this fucking movie too. He drives this whole thing, and it would come across as stupid and hokey if you didn't have him.
Yeah.
Because the way it plays on the host's, inner shit and especially the shit towards the end and exposing him.
And
If it didn't do that and play
Grove.
the Grove, and if it didn't play on all of his fears and the bad shit that he did, that's what makes this movie interesting.
Mhm.
It's easy to like say that, oh, it's a late night 70s show with spooky shit.
Especially because what does Lily say to him when she first sits down? Hello, Jack. Don't worry. Your show's going to be just fine.
Exactly. And that's all he really cares about. So.
Seriously, how would she even know that?
Yeah.
Like, how would a 13-year-old little girl who's meeting this man for the very first time in her life, how would she know that?
Yeah.
There's
She
no
wouldn't.
way. And then she's like, oh, I remember you. I saw you in the tall, dark trees.
Yeah.
So this is not her talking.
No.
Like, honestly, I don't think Lily was there to begin with, honestly. I feel like that demon was in her the entire time. I don't know if you agree with me or not.
She sounded creepy. I mean, yeah.
Just because of the creepiness, like even when it's trying to be normal, the creepiness, like, hello, Jack, how are you doing this evening? Like, just the roboticness
Yeah.
of it. It just felt very forced.
It does.
To be human-like, and it just
Yeah.
felt like something is off with that child.
She felt plucked out of the fucking Exorcist too. Like, and that's another movie that they
But
referenced.
she
that was
did a
around.
good job, though. She did a
She
really
did.
good job. She very well could have been Reagan Jr.,
Yeah.
but she did a good job.
Yeah, she was acting like. I mean, she did a great job, but it really felt like, especially fucking, in the scene when she's like possessed and like staring down his eyes and shit. And doesn't her head spin? Maybe it
Mm-mm.
doesn't. But she's
It
fucking.
cracks open.
Yeah, and that's fucking The Exorcist, dude. Right there. That's The Exorcist. It's awesome, and I think it's a very good scene.
Well, no. Yeah, they pulled from the Poltergeist, too.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, the Poltergeist is older. It was an older movie, but you could definitely tell because of, like, the thunder that was coming out of her hands.
Yeah.
And stuff. Like, not thunder, but, like, the lightning that was coming out of her hands and everything. And, like, how she killed the critic and whatnot. Like, you can tell that was inspired by Poltergeist.
Yeah, it clearly was.
So, but like Kirstu, the medium that they had on there, like I kind of feel bad for him. I don't know if he was faking or not, but when Lily came in,
It's Carmichael.
Oh.
Christy's the girl that puked all that black.
no, I'm talking about Krishna, the one that puked up the black stuff.
Okay, go ahead.
The medium.
Yeah.
He very well could have been faking everything, but once Lily was in the building, before Jack even knew that she showed up, he started freaking out.
Yeah.
And that's when the black stuff started oozing out of him, and it was really creepy because it's like, oh my God, what is causing him to act like this?
Yeah.
And then that skeptic guy that you were talking about, he is just an idiot. He is an ass. He's like one of those kids that takes a stick and pokes a bear.
If you don't believe, you don't believe. I mean, it's just like in real life.
I get it because he's also a magician,
Yeah.
or he was a magician. He's an ex-magician.
Mhm.
So like he says like to Krishna, like, of course you're a liar. So was I. I understand.
Yeah,
He
gets
lied.
it. Yeah.
And we all lie. It's okay. You're just trying to make a living for yourself. It's nothing against it. We all lie. And but like she was poking the bear with her. Like the whole like, all right, ladies, we believe you. Stop now. Like, dude, you should have been taken off before Kristoff. Like,
Yeah.
that demon, I understand it had a point to prove, but it should have killed him very soon. Very quickly.
And my whole thing is, and I get what he was trying to do, and I think his example of like why this shit could be fake was a very good example. But I don't know any magician that I've ever met that can make a fucking snake come out of somebody's eyeball and fucking do the shit that he was doing to poor Gus.
It was hypnotism, that's why.
Yeah, but
he's a hypnotist.
Okay. So maybe he's a next level magician, but
that's why he specializes in hypnotism. That's why when they roll back the tape,
it's not there.
It's not there. But that's why Lily says, "Oh, well, let's roll back our tape."
Yes, but did you notice the line that Gus says before they do that demonstration, which ends up kind of playing later? When he's like, are you sure? And he looks like Andy Richter when he's saying it, but he's like, are you sure, Jack, that I should do this? I don't want my head to spin.
Yeah.
And then fucking later, it's like,
or my head to split open.
It was it was spinning for sure because you know how he died.
Oh.
His wife likes his head the way it is.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like but,
okay.
Yeah. And so I thought that was a fun little line, but go ahead.
But yeah, no, that's just what it was, honestly, is they pulled back the tapes, and then Lily's like, okay, well, if you think I'm lying, let's pull back my tape. And they did, and like they paused it at 1 second, and then there's just this demonic looking thing just looking back at them. And it's like, if that's not proof, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what else you want. Because that right there is proof.
Yes.
And the guy just kept poking the bear. He needed to stop. Honestly, I'm not surprised for that demon just kind of like splitting her head open and going off and shit because he deserved it.
Yeah.
But that starts happening and everything, and then Jack is escorted out by one of his other stage helpers or production.
Are you talking when the shit goes down or before that? Okay, so yeah, the shit going down we have to really talk about.
Okay.
Because probably the best scene in the fucking movie.
Yeah. That's what we were just talking about with the lightning coming out of her hands.
Yeah.
And her head splitting open and whatnot.
The best scene in the fucking movie.
Yeah.
And that's when Gus dies, right? That's when she kills everybody.
Yeah, that's when she kills Gus.
And by the way, and the whole head spinning thing, and this has been talked about a little
Carl.
bit. And Carl or Carmichael or whoever the fuck. Okay. But yeah, some people died. Gus, I felt bad for him.
Carmichael.
That neck, the effect didn't look great. And people have commented about this, already online and stuff, and I don't want to really just repeat.
But that was probably the worst effect that they had.
It looked noticeably a little like, hey. It looked a little like fucking Nightmare on Elm Street with the dummy mom that gets pulled through the fucking. It looked a little.
Just a little bit. Just the dad.
Yeah, I didn't love that, especially because you have lightning. If this bitch is turning into Thor and fucking everybody up. And then this dude's got a paper mache head that gets fucking twisted real quick. It was a great play on the loud my head doesn't spin, and then his head, spun. But I love that scene, and I think that is the part, because this movie is very much a psychological movie. Mm-hmm. It's a psychological horror movie that kind of, you got to go into it, you get into the characters, you get into the ambiance.
But also, it's a possession film as well, if you think about it, because I don't think Lily was really Lily. Even when she came onto the stage, I don't think that there was a difference. I think the doctor was being tricked.
100% it's a possession movie. I mean, if you don't think Lily's possessed, I don't think you should watch movies.
Well,
anymore.
yeah, but I'm just saying, though, because some people are saying, like, in the beginning, was she really possessed or not? And in the beginning, I think she was. I think she was possessed the entire time.
Okay.
I don't think that the thing was actually listening to the doctor. Like when the doctor, and like even in the end when she's like, come on, listen to me, and it's like, no, I never have, and it's okay.
Yeah, so maybe it's
so I really think it was playing her the entire time.
Could have been.
So
it could have been.
Just personal opinion peppered in there.
No, and that's, but I mean, whether that is true or not, it's still a possession movie.
Yeah.
So like when you were saying it's 100% a possession movie, but it's also this.
You're like, I'm gonna take your horror card away if you don't understand that it's possession. Come
I'm
on.
not saying for you. I'm saying for other people if they didn't understand that this is a possession movie. It definitely is, but it's a psychological horror movie that fucking. You get into it, you get into the ambiance, you get into the setting, you get into the characters, and they take you on this ride of crazy shit. And that moment, and when you're in one of those movies like that, there's like a moment at the end or the middle or wherever where shit really goes down and everything takes a fucking crazy twist.
And that was her breaking open.
Yeah, that was that moment. Even though you had a bunch of little moments that were spooky and made you go, holy shit. And I probably would have turned this, if Conan was doing that, I would have turned it on fucking hours ago or when it first started. First of all, Jack's opening monologue sucked. That wasn't a good comedy monologue. No. But it was the shit went down and it was a scary situation. And I thought the effects really came to light. It's like, oh my God, this is a good shot movie when she was shooting the thunderbolts and shit. And but go ahead about him getting escorted out.
Yeah, so he gets escorted out and whatnot, and then all of a sudden he's being put through all the different trials in his life.
Yeah.
Like the hardships with Minnie, his wife, the several episodes that failed, him going to the grove, and like the thing is like the owl-like demon and the cult surround him at one point right before it's about to end, and they said, good job, Jack, you've served us well.
Yeah,
you put on a great show tonight. And then
that was a good show,
and then all of a sudden it ends and he's the one who's killing everybody.
Not everybody. We know he killed Lily when he comes back, right? We know he killed because she's putting the knife into Lily.
Stabbing her.
But it doesn't specifically say, hey, and there's no flashback scene. It's like Jack killed everybody. It could have still been Lily that fucking, killed everybody. And then, by the way, Jack's not that fucking wrong for killing this little, and not that you should ever kill, anybody, especially, children. Shouldn't kill anybody.
See, I felt like his body was on autopilot because his brain was going through his tribulation.
I got to finish that point. We can't leave on that.
Right, go ahead, Daniel.
When I talk about killing people, we can't. But But was Jack like, if somebody put a dagger in this demonic being that's electrocuting people and fucking snapping necks and shit, is it that wrong?
No, but what I'm trying to say is us as the audience, we don't know what was going on.
No, so it could have been him the whole time.
Could have been him the whole time.
Yeah, and that's the knot. I'm mostly being a smartass, but I'm just giving the other side. But we don't see that. So technically, if we're going by what we saw as the viewer, Lily fucked all those people up. Jack killed Lily.
And then the devil, you got to remember, the devil came in to people's homes.
Yes.
Because he said you have to welcome the devil into your home tonight.
Yes.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
Seriously, you done screwed some people over.
And that shot of him putting that was like, oh, like, especially because what he did to his poor wife.
Oh my God.
And, and she's like calling him an asshole. And I don't know if that really happened. But
well, no, it didn't really happen, Daniel. That was the demon fucking with him and shit. Like, just like in The Exorcist when Pazuzu is like, your mother sucks, cocks in hell. Like, it's the same thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, demons will say anything they can to get under your skin.
Yes, that is known. And they did. And and then he put the dagger to put his wife out of his, and it's a sad fucking ending. And it's it's like, this dude sold his soul. And this is what it came to. And that's why that dynamic of, Jack Delroy and that character.
And that show probably did end up number one that night.
Probably. I would have tuned in. That's some crazy shit. Not if the devil was going to open him. If it said TV guy, devil will enter your house, I might fucking flip. I might do something else. But
but like back then with like skeptics and Lorraine Warren and the Amityville horror going on and stuff like that, like stuff that people thought was really true and shit, like to them that was real.
It was real. And I mean, it looks fucking real on the TV. So
they did an amazing job with the filming. I will have to bring that home. They did an amazing job with the cinematography, the effects, the shooting in general. They did a great job
They
with
did.
all of that.
Yeah,
Because it easily could have been hokey, and it wasn't.
Yeah, it could have been. And the little bit of hokey that it was completely on purpose, and you can tell.
Oh, absolutely.
It was doing that to fit in with the time period.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Yeah.
Everything about this isn't a movie that, like, we come on here and talk about a lot of dog shit, ladies and gentlemen, and a lot of things that I would not recommend or go back and watch. But this is one that, this movie doesn't do a lot of things wrong. There's not much. There's not one thing that I can be like,
And we were actually talking last night about how we needed to give it a second or third watch.
Yeah.
Like for me, it was my third watch because I had watched it a second time. Because once you watch it the first time, you do have an eager, like, overwhelmingness come over you and be like, all right, I got to watch this again.
Yeah.
I got to see what actually happened. What did I just watch?
Yeah.
So.
It definitely had some of that to it. And yeah, and this has little things in it. It's one of those movies to where it's worth going back and watching because you're going to find a couple things that you missed.
Yeah.
So that's always cool.
Like, I didn't realize the owl thing in the Bohemian Grove and whatnot, and I figured that out when you go back.
Night Owls is a stupid name too. But yeah.
But if you think about it, though, Daniel, Night Owls was probably a tribute to the owl god.
Yes. Yeah.
That was probably his way of paying tribute to him.
Yeah.
So, and what better way than to put it in the name of the show? So, yeah. Do you have anything else you want to say? Or is there any like major kills that you like, or?
I don't know why I was gonna Christo or whatever the medium's name. The puking of the black liquid was cool. The way Carmichael died, with the throat. That was him, right? With the throat slit, or was that the girl? Okay. Insane. There was a lot of cool deaths in this, especially towards the end, but this really wasn't about that.
No.
What I like about this movie is you have one character, and yes, you have a bunch of psycho, but you have one character in Jack Delroy, and you kind of go through his mind, and you kind of take this trip into what a dude back then, not even back then, but just a guy that sold his soul and fucking, sold his soul for fame. And we get to, take a demon
he kept
spin.
his mouth shut too, guys. Like, everyone's around him is suffering, telling him to pull the plug and shit, and he just wants to keep on going.
Yeah. And he's just, like, he really wanted to make this thing happen. He wanted to be successful in his work life. He risked everything to do it, and he signed his soul with the devil. It's a classic tale. A lot of guys just kiss more ass at work, but this guy sold his soul to the devil. So, he really...
He's like, screw the hierarchy.
Yeah. A lot... I mean, you see it all the time. That's how it be, as the kids say nowadays. Yeah. People will do anything they can do to get to the top. And Jack did, and you showed what happened. And sometimes you send when you make a deal with the devil, it never works out. If you didn't watch Ghost Rider, then you can learn that from this movie. Way better movie than fucking Ghost Rider.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do not bring this Sony crap into this house.
No offense to Nick Cage, but great.
Sorry, Sony. I really hope you do Until Dawn good. Please.
Me too.
Please, Sony. Please.
Yeah, please. It has nothing to do with Spider-Man, so I'm sure it'll be fine. But yes, Jack Delroy and his fucking struggle and everything he went through throughout this movie made the movie for me. If I'm going to give it an overall rating, I give it a 9.1. This is almost perfect for me.
So the only movie I've ever given a 10 on here has been Goodnight Mommy.
Okay.
2015. So I kind of always hold them to that standard. And I will have to say that this movie had me skeeved out.
Yes.
So I'm going to give it an 8.9.
Okay. Not quite in the nines.
Not quite in the nines. It got there. It's just, it was lacking something for me. I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
But there was just something. Thank you. There was just something that needed to be there.
Yeah, something was missing a little bit. And I can see that. But as an overall, like, people that people that aren't into horror, people that aren't into it like that, if they were like, dude, I want a first step, I'm like interested, like, give me a cool, original, interesting movie.
This would be what you recommended.
I'd be like, dude, fucking have this. And it's a good movie to where if you take the horror show, which, I mean, you're not, because it's a scary movie.
Yeah.
But you can take that shit out of it and just go into it as a casual view and be like, "This is a good fucking movie."
And like everyone still says to this day, like The Exorcist is the scariest movie of all time. Even though I've watched documentaries and stuff, they did not consider it a horror movie ever. They've
Really?
never considered it a scary movie. To them, it's a paranormal mystery.
That's fun.
Don't know what Kool-Aid they're drinking, but they're drinking some kind of Kool-Aid. And so I will have to say this movie really depicted what 1970s horror was.
Yes.
And what 1970s TV was.
100%.
So I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Me too. This was a great movie. It's a lot of fun reviewing this. It's something I'll come back to in the future for sure. You have any idea what you want to do next week?
You already know I do.
What?
So last night I had the ability to watch on Hulu the Nicolas Cage movie Long Legs.
Yes.
Where he plays a psychotic serial killer who has an unknown accomplice. Oh my God. I have no idea what I watched, but I was so skeeved. Like, he's barely even on the screen. Like, most of the time he has his hands in front of, but like, you know how Tiny Tim sings? Like,
Yeah.
tiptoeing. That's how he talks. Like, hello, isn't your birthday soon? Like, the hell?
He's fucking creepy in it.
What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
And like sneaking into kids' backyards and taking pictures with them and stuff. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, I have to watch it at least another 2 or 3 times. Because even my fiance, who I look at like, what the hell did we just watch? He don't even know. He gave me that look.
You don't know.
But Mika Monroe does an amazing job. She's actually the one that plays the girl in It Follows, isn't she? Isn't that the same girl? I think
so, yeah.
I think that's the same girl. She still has the same kind of I'm gonna go jump off a cliff look on her face.
Okay.
But that's how I know it's the same girl.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's a really good movie.
All right. So we'll see everybody next week with Long Legs.
Yeah, and it is on Hulu if you want to keep up with us.
All right. Give him a big old hooty hoo, Mindy.
A hoo-to-hoo!
We'll see everybody next time. Have a good spooky week, and we'll see you on the next spooky Sunday.
Good night, guys.